marketing, as Kara introduced, but I'm also a teacher, so I love worksheets, useful ones, not the kind that, is busy work. I like things that you can go back and refer to. So I hope it is useful. If it's not, I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, I've been doing social media managing now for almost 4 years. I started at a small summer camp in Indiana. I loved it, and I kind of just continued. Like I said, my my number one business, of course, is teaching, and so it's kind of cool that I get to mesh these two careers into one by like teaching you guys stuff that will definitely help you. And so, like I said, since I am a teacher, we're probably going to be using the chat a lot because I like interaction. I like to know where you're at, how I can help you, if it's too much, too little, anything I can do to help you out. So I'm going to be kind of going through the uh, worksheet on my end. So you'll kind of just see me also walk you through it. This is kind of something that really just summarizes what I've seen with social media as a whole. Although we are focusing on Instagram, um, there's a lot of things that are in one kind of social media that are kind of the same for everything. And so this quote kind of explains it really, really well. We cannot live only for ourselves. 1,000 fibers connects us with our fellow men. Herman Melville. Um, we often hope that we can make it out on our own, and oftentimes we can't. And the important thing to remember with social media in general is actually that it it is something that has to be done with other people. You have to look at it as a community. If you're just looking at it like here's me putting my my wares to sell, you probably aren't going to do so well. And we'll kind of look a little bit about that, but you should always think about how can I integrate my services, my wares into the greater community. And of course for Gallup MainStreet, how if you're part of Gallup MainStreet, how can I incorporate into this Gallup MainStreet community and into the greater community as well? So here's a quick question. I actually would love to see your answers in the chat. You don't have to answer for Instagram, especially if you're not very much often on there. I just want to know, what do you do when you scroll social media? So, do you just kind of, mindlessly tap through? I would say I'm personally that kind of person. I just kind of, look at it. If something catches my attention, I'll stop my scroll. Do you like to go shopping? Do you like to go to Reels? What do you like to do on social media? And you could just say nothing. If we have some people here who maybe are not so much on, then that's fine as well. Oh, I like that. Checking out artists. Yeah, for sure. I definitely love seeing, especially a lot of the posts from MainStreet that shows a lot of the local artists and talents, for sure. And events as well. A lot of places will post their events on Instagram, and so it's an easy way for me to find out what they're doing. So if you're in the bunch of people that you're just like, well, I'm kind of here to just find out what I can do with it, that's still perfectly fine. I added this quote, this statistic as a source of encouragement. 90% of Instagram users follow at least one business. I can tell you, I definitely love following local business, and mostly because I'm a product of small business. My dad, he used to own a electronics secondhand selling company. So he would sell like VCRs. I know I'm dating myself by saying that, but he would sell like VCRs. He would sell, big screen televisions. And, small business was what paid for our food, what paid for our extra expenses in the household. And it has a very special, near and dear place in my heart. And of course, the way that my dad did business back in the early 2000s or in the late 1990s was definitely a whole lot different from what we see now. And so, a lot of people now go to online buying of things. And so it's really important to be able to have that presence, especially when so many people are already on Instagram and other social media platforms. So, if you are hoping to increase your Instagram following, or just to even get started, a really good place to start is just with research. What does research look like for a small business? Who is rocking the field you hope to join? So you want to start by looking up words related to your business. So like for me, my profession is teaching. So I would start looking up things in the line of teacher, teacher, teachers, school. I would start looking these words up and find big or popular people and see what kind of stuff they're doing that looks really good. And I would write down their names and their businesses and see how they do it. So what this would look like, I'm going to be jumping into the app a few times. And so as you're getting ideas, this is a really good idea for you to kind of follow along. So if you have your phone or if you're on Instagram as well, this is a good time to scroll on social media while you're watching. That's perfectly good and fine. Sorry, guys. So you're going to go to the bottom where there's a little search icon, and you're going to tap on the search, and you're going to look up just names that are related to what you're interested in. So for me, if I was looking to become a big teacher influencer, or just, advertise my teaching services or anything like that, I'm just going to start with teacher. And I'm going to look up accounts or tags. And so here we have maybe, here's one teacher. And I'm just going to look at what she's got. So she's kind of got this cute little pink thing going on. She's got quotes. She's got this is really popular right now, is to have your Bitmoji classroom, some selfies. And so I'm going to go back and I'm going to write that down. I'm going to say, okay, well, I should probably look at maybe doing some selfies, doing maybe something with Bitmoji classrooms, some quotes, and I might even write down her name as well. I'm going to write down, I believe her user handle was Miss Campos. And I might even follow her as well. The idea might be to follow about 5 different people or more and kind of just study them. Because if they have a strong following, then they're doing something right. And so before you even, decide, let me get all my social media out there, let me just learn from people. And that actually is really, really helpful. Oh, there you go. Step 1, download the Instagram app for sure. I mean, you can use it on, you can use some of the options actually on Facebook. You can't use everything, or sorry, on your computer. You can't post from your computer and stuff like that without using other programs. But if you just you have to get an account. So yes, that is very true. Step 1, get an account. Even if you don't have anything put on it yet, make sure you have an account. We'll just look at a couple other examples. We're going to look at tags. Sometimes hashtags are the best way because it's going to show you the top post, which means that it'll kind of give you an idea of, again, what super people in the field, people who are rocking it, are doing. So if we look at here, fashionable Lindsay or fashionably Lindsay. Oh, maybe you're just, this looks teachery. Well, my internet loads. Oh, there you go. So this person has 99,000 followers. So yeah, they're definitely, up in their game. And so again, here's things that I see that I noticed from them. They have quotes, they've got pictures of different activities they do. And so, eventually I might decide, okay, I'm going to follow her, see what she's doing, learn how to do what she's doing as well. Once you have your top people, uh, then you can move on to the next part. But like I said, I suggest that you kind of stay in this part for a bit. Like there's no, and I think that's kind of a big part, is there's no rush to get everything going, especially if you're trying to, like, learn how to do it and do it well. If you feel more comfortable taking it in baby steps, sometimes I feel like that's a lot better, especially because there is a lot of work that goes into just running your business. Trying to add on top of that all the marketing and all of this stuff can be very overwhelming. And I definitely don't want to ever say like, oh, this is super easy. Like, no, it can be a lot, especially when you're also doing your full-time job, also doing, you're trying to launch your business and everything. But definitely a good place to start is just start with these top people, start learning what they're doing, start seeing how you can replicate what they're doing as well. Are there any questions up to this point? Great. As I tell my students who are middle schoolers, no questions means no questions. We can move on. So step 2 is identifying your goals. And so why are you using Instagram? I think for a lot of people, the easy answer is I'm trying to make money. And there's no wrong reason for, like, putting out your, your most real reasons. That's fine. If you're trying to make money, that's one part, trying to grow your following. These are very common goals. Grow how many people engage with your activities. That's also super duper common. And so what do you hope to get out of doing this social media? And so when you're focusing on specific goals, then you can follow a more specific path. Making money, bringing attention to your business is important, but your goals need to be a little bit more specific than that. So let's say you decide in 1 month, I want to post 10 times. That might not mean growth yet, but it does mean that you're starting to set yourself up for a pattern of what you want to accomplish on your platform. You might say in 1 month, I want to gain 30 followers. You want to make sure that your goal is something that is manageable for you, because again, you're shuffling between so many other different things that you don't want to just overwhelm yourself. You want to give yourself enough time to accomplish those goals. So if you look at your research and say, okay, I love how they posted on a story every single day. So then, you might even say, I want to recreate or replicate some of these superstar Instagrammers. And there's nothing wrong with that, for sure. I think especially when you're starting, having like a sort of template, having somebody that you can look at and say, I'm going to do what they're doing, is not a problem, especially because your community is going to be different. Your community might be Gallup, your community might be the Southwest, it might be just online, but specific to your business. And so, even if you're following in the steps of somebody else, that's not a problem. Eventually, when you feel more comfortable, when you feel like you've had enough time to explore Instagram, then you can move on to, individualizing and doing what you love most with it. Are there any questions about goals? Great. All right. So this is a lot more one-on-one, but definitely if you have questions, like Kara said in the chat, please feel free to ask. This is just basically a layout and things and tips that'll kind of help you to make your profile look like it's a business profile. So there's a couple of things that people look to say, oh, wow, this is an official looking, this is a good looking page that just makes them look really, really good. In order to know what kind of content to post, familiarize yourself with all the components of Instagram and how to use them. So the big thing first is the profile picture. If you have like a very good picture of your logo, or if you have a good picture of your store, that's a really good thing to put there. If you're a business and you have a picture of yourself, it's a little misleading. You want to make sure you have something that represents who you are, who your business is, um, and that shows on your profile picture. There's a lot of really great people. If you even go to Upworks, you might be able to find someone to create a logo for you if you're not there yet. Otherwise, actually, you can create your logo on Canva. So that's a lesson that's actually coming up. I'll be teaching, I don't know when, but it is coming up. So if you don't have a logo yet and you're considering one, especially if you're a business and not just like an influencer or just like a person, that's a great place to start. Your bio is the next place. And your bio usually shows up under, this is what I call the cover letter for a business. People, when they go to if they saw a post that they really like and they end up on your profile, they're going to try to get information from you. And I cannot tell you how many times I've been on clients' profiles and they don't have a bio, which is like probably the worst thing, or they just don't have much and you can't really tell what they're all about. So here's a very quick thing. If you don't know, well, what do I put on my profile? You want to have business hours, or at least the ones that are like the most common. You want to have your location, even if it's just like, if you have your city, or if you have, if you have a business location, wherever that might be, that people might get an idea like, oh, is this an online business or is this a local business that I can go to? A catchphrase or a slogan, something that lets people know what you're all about. And that's it'll kind of layer that up for you. The last thing that does show up here, and it gives you the option, I'm going to write another note for you guys here. You want to make sure that you're on a business profile setting, because it'll give you a little bit more options. Kind of how you see here, it says promotions and insights. That usually comes when you have like a business or creator profile. It'll also give you the option for a website. And even if your website for now is like a Facebook page, it's somewhere else where people can go to find more information. As you saw in the examples, a lot of places will have highlights here and names. And this also, like I said, it's part of that whole cover letter idea, like lets people know what you're all about. And so on the story highlights, it gives you the chance to save stories that will show up on your profile. So, if your business is, again, going back to the teacher example, then you can show like, my day, work, teacher style, whatever things interest you that kind of just make you a more well-rounded person. It kind of lets people know, hey, this is what she does, this is what they're up to, this is what their business likes to showcase. And especially for businesses, you can actually categorize the things you sell here, which makes it really easy for people to go if they're, if they're looking, if they just are doing kind of a quick shopping, then your titles could be the kinds of things you're selling. So if you're selling candles, or if you're selling like pictures, and it kind of becomes a very quick catalog for people to see the kind of wares that you have. And you can even, you can still just have, about me, because at the end of the day, this is community. You want to, again, show a little bit about yourself. And so whatever people get from seeing this part of your profile, you want them to get the perception that you're a human behind your small business, that you have a personality, get a rough idea for like things that matter to you, things that, kind of make you unique. Because once people can find connections with that, they'll be like, oh, you're the business person who loves this baseball team. I hate them, but I like you. So, it kind of gives that ability for connection. You want to be able to give people a little bit of your personality so they can get to know you a little bit better in the process as well. And of course, these grids is just your posts, which with time you can kind of start getting a better feel for the different things that you can post all together. The easiest, of course, is pictures, but the more you have practice, the more you look at other people in your field, like I said, you might see that a lot of people do quotes, a lot of people do short videos, or they do, um, selfies or products or about me's. And so that gives you the chance to start deciding, okay, well, what kind of content do I want to post? What is going to let people know not only about my product, but about me? So if they see, if every single day you're posting a new product, sure, that might be catching if they like that one product. But if they see a quote that they like, they're going to probably share it. And that's kind of what you want to eventually start doing, is making your stuff shareable, because the more they share it, the more people that might be like, hey, that's a great quote. I'm going to go to that profile. I'm going to go check them out. Hey, that's a funny video. I'm going to go to that profile. I'm going to check them out. And so these other posts that aren't just your products are what are going to let people come back to your profile. And again, come back to that cover page, which is going to be super important to let people know what you're all about. And then, of course, once you kind of get the hang of posts, there are other options for things that you can create and can post. My recommendation is you kind of get a good grasp on even just, regular posting before you move on to this. But let's say you're really into video, then hey, more power to you. Go ahead and create reels. Reels are actually getting pushed by Instagram more because they want to compete TikTok and beat them out, which is TikToks are usually 60-second videos, but reels are 30 seconds. It's the same idea though. And usually, as far as engagement and other things, they do sometimes a little bit better. And so even if you have a friend that's like good and you're like, hey, come on over, help me out for a bit, reels are a good way to get your product name out there, even if it's just to get your name out there and to become more recognizable. If you're, again, into videography, IGTV is really great. Those are for videos that are longer than a minute. If you're interested in like even just showing the process of how you create something, that's, an easy way. Just do a video showing what you do. Do a video, showing something that happens in your store, or do a video of just talking about the process of like the day in the life of a small business owner. There are definitely options. Again, once you've mastered or kind of gotten used to just regular posting, it gives you the opportunity to reach other audiences in different creative methods. And the last one, this one's actually super new. But it's also really exciting because it gives you the chance to actually, again, create catalogs for things that you can sell. So once you have like a decent amount of, what do you call them? Posts, you can actually make your posts into guides. So let's say you have like 10 pictures of products. You can bunch all those pictures up and create guides. So, you might say, holiday shopping for Valentine's Day, which is probably the next biggest holiday. And so if you're like, okay, everything that I'm going to do is going to be Valentine's Day, leading up to Valentine's Day, I'm really going to be pushing this super duper hard. So then your guide might be, holiday Valentine's gifts for her. And, it's an easy scrollable thing. I'll show you guys in a second what it looks like. Then you might do another guides that's like gifts for him. And again, like people, a lot of people when they're scrolling online, if you're just kind of bored enough, you're just like, oh, let me just go check out what they've got. Now you've got people looking at like 10 of your products in one go, or like 15 of your products in one go, because you had the content ready for that to be shown, which is a really great way to kind of, show more people of what your business is all about. Are there any questions on this, on my tagged up page before we move on to some Instagram examples?
Raquel, I had a question, but maybe when we look at examples, we can talk a little bit about the differences. But it's a kind of question about the differences in content between like stories, reels, and Instagram TV, and like what kind of content specifically for reels, since they're so popular right now.
Yeah, that's
what kind of content are you is it a space where you don't have to reinvent the wheel? You just kind of maybe shoot a small video that you would for stories, but post it on reels? Like kind of what's a good approach for people who aren't super familiar? Like I know I don't use TikTok, so.
That's a really good question. And actually, I love that you said like, well, why don't you just make you're asking, can you make your story into a reel? Yes, you can. Do it. It's more permanent, and that's perfectly fine. With the right hashtags, it actually will get more attention than maybe a story just would, because you have a wider audience. And so that's a really good idea. As far as reels, some easy examples of reels, if you're like, honestly, sometimes just rants are really good. Like if you're like, you know what, I hate the weather, I hate the snow, and then you show the snow outside, there you go, you have a reels, and somebody's going to find that funny or relatable. It doesn't necessarily have to do with your business, but the goal is to bring people back to your business. Once they're there, they might say, hey, this funny guy sells stuff, let me go buy stuff from them because they're funny. It's weird how marketing works in that sense, but it is one thing you can do. If you are on like, I'm so sorry, let me close this off. Hopefully that does something. Okay. Hopefully, like if you're looking for other stuff, you can just do like your store tours, or you can do stuff tours. Something that's actually super popular on TikTok right now is making things. Like literally, if your business is about making something, doing a video where you show the process of making something is really, really popular. Like people love seeing people do paintings, people taking pictures, people making stuff out of ironworks or leather craft or whatever it may be. It's just, I don't know, it's just calming. People like just watching stuff for crafting sake, or for for the ability of having a skill sake. You can also do just, popular trends if you're feeling up to that. Personally, I hate being in front of a camera. I really do. So I usually like to do more like nature shots, or just show what's going on the outside. Anything that doesn't show my face or me, I'm more of that kind of person, and that's still fine. Remember, like I said, the ultimate goal is not to show your face, it's just to create a presence, because once you create a presence, you can drive them back to your profile. So with that being said, I'm kind of just going to walk you through kind of things that I've done with my profile. I don't use my profile to like post specific social media related stuff. Instead, I kind of just use it as an example of things that you can do. So at the top, you'll see the different titles that I have, teacher, social media manager, and then just kind of like, I love travel, so wanderluster and things I'm about. I also have my website here. And with the highlights, basically, I do a lot of story highlights that just have to do with like my life in general. So I'm obsessed with my cat. I love my cat, and people like cats. So, I mean, honestly, it gets reactions. It works. And it's very simple things. You can just show like small videos. This is when boomerangs just came out. They're not as popular anymore, but I mean, just short videos or short some things that show what's going on is a really easy way to do that. You can also, do longer videos that kind of show what you're doing. This is just, again, to give people an eye into what you're about. And so if your categories are things like, your different wares, if they're things about like what's going on in the shop today, what am I up to, my to-do list, anything to basically show people a little bit more of who you are. Now, Reels, I've kind of taken that approach of like anything that I am on TikTok a little bit more, so I've done a little bit more like video editing stuff so that it can so that the videos look like they've had some work done to them. But even just showing scenes of things is really nice. This video took off, and again, it's not necessarily what I'm specifically about. It's not teacher related, it's not social media related, but it's just showing a trip that I took recently. And if you took a trip recently, chances are you can show that, a little bit of that as well. Sorry, my internet's not doing so hot. But your reels, again, can be different things that you are doing inside your store. It could be just you talking about your day, anything like that. I've used IGTV specifically for like tutorials. This is probably like the most that I show as far as like my social media stuff, if my internet would just cooperate, or actually not say I don't have anything there. That's strange. But yeah, so I do usually tutorials. Oh, now it's working. There it goes. So it's a minute long. And again, it's a different kind of engagement. It's just something else to try. I just would want to reiterate, like the worst thing that can happen for people, and I see it a lot, is to have people just kind of get really stressed out right away. If you feel like even just posting 3 times a week is a lot, then just start there. Start with, okay, I'm just going to make sure that I post 3 times a week. And that's a good starting place for you, And then from there you might say, hey, I might try every other week, I'm going to post 1 reel. And now that's another thing you can do. The guides is kind of what I wanted to show you guys, because this is definitely a really great tool for small businesses, especially, because Instagram's really pushing shopping. So this little icon right here, if you didn't know, that icon is now for shopping. And so you can actually connect it to shopping on there. So I kind of just did one to mess around, see how it worked. So it'll give you the ability to do a title, give it a cover page, and you can choose how many posts you want to be on that one as soon as it loads. My internet always chooses to be bad at the worst possible time. So here we have it. Thank you. That's really helpful. Yeah, so that was kind of like if you're working towards a specific holiday. I did that with the point of showing how you can get ready for the holidays. So especially, like I said, Valentine's Day is a huge holiday. It's coming up very soon. If you're interested in creating all your marketing so that you're ready to, market for Valentine's Day, that is a really good tutorial based on that. I don't think this might work. I'm sorry, guys. If you're interested, you can check it out on my page later if you want to just look at some of the stuff I've done, get some ideas. Let me just yeah, so that's kind of the basics. Are there any questions, anything that you had, any wonderings about as far as Instagram, things that you're doing, things you would like to know more about? This is definitely, like I said, this is the introduction. We're going to kind of go into more topics as the weeks go by, but I just wanted to give the very basic interview so that you can kind of feel for what is available and what you can do.
Thank you so much, Raquel. I'm gonna stop our recording here.